I stand for my 16th time at Main Gate at Petra. When you walk into Main Gate at Petra, the ticket office is there. If you have a Jordan pass, you go and show your Jordan pass and they will give you the ticket that will be scanned at the next gate. You have a whole group of souks here, and of course my favourite one is this one just here because I know the family. Just in this room over here is guides. So they speak about 15 languages, no, probably only about 10 languages. So if you haven't come here with a guide, you can hire a guide from just there. So let's go and exchange the ticket and start our day at Petra. So I've exchanged my Jordan pass for my ticket that will get scanned at the next gate. One of the things that I forgot to mention about, other than the guides being just here, you pay for them at the just here at the ticket office, but the toilets are available throughout the site. This is one of your best. Toilets are free in Petra, so you don't have to tip, but a handy tip is to bring your own toilet paper. Let's go down to the site. As you're walking down this first section coming into Petra, there is no shade cover, so it's really an advantage if you come earlier in the morning. Once you get to the sick, there's a lot of shade cover, so it's not so bad. What you see is, as you first walk down, is you pass the Djinn. The Djinn are these large square blocks, and you'll see them dotted all around the site, and they are to ward off the evil spirits. The first tomb that you'll come to is the Obelisk Tomb, and that is named because of the obelisks on top. It's great to see large groups of tourists here. Welcome back. The next area you're going to come to is going to be the dam. If you want to see some absolutely amazing footage about what happens when the rains come and all of the rocks come casting down, there's a lot of vision on YouTube that you can see what happens at the flood here at the dam. They have this little show here in the mornings, not necessarily in the afternoons. And at the beginning of the sick, you can have your photo taken with some Jordanians dressed in Roman clothes-looking things that are made of plastic. This is one of my favourite souks, little shops, because on the way back up, you are going to desperately want an ice cream from this guy, an ice cream or a cold drink. Let's head down into the souk, where we'll catch some shade for the next 15 minutes. When you're walking down the sick, it's really important to stop and look up and see the amazing colours. Coming earlier in the day, it's a lot cooler. But look around at the rock formations and you will see very interesting things made by nature. So this one is the elephant. There's a square block over there, which is a tomb, which looks like a djinn, but is actually a tomb. And the other thing to do when you're walking is keep looking at the walls, because there are going to be niches. When people come to a Muslim country, they perceive that Islam is the only religion. But you've got to remember that Petra has been around for so long that it's actually a polytheistic site. So there were a lot of different religions over the millennia. And when you're coming down here into Petra, there are niches in the wall. And what you would see is a niche of your God. So as you are coming to trade here in Petra, you're going to feel more comfortable that your God is going to be honoured. The other thing to think about is when you look at the Petra site, you've actually got a northern section that's like the churches. Then you've got an Islamic section, which is kind of near to Kasey Bint. But all the rest was predominantly interrupted by electric buggy. There were every other religion under the sun, every other deity. So a pagan area, you could probably call it, because it was a non-Christian. You've got to remember that Christianity only came around at 0 and Islam came 600 years later. So you are not necessarily going to see predominant Islamic site, because this was a city that existed long even before Christianity. You come across the niches of all the different deities. So as you come down into Petra as a trader, a couple of thousand years ago, you'd be feeling more comfortable that you're going to be respected because your deity is recognized. So this is a polytheistic site. As you're walking down the Sikh, you'll be walking over pavers that come from Syria and Iraq millennia ago. But don't walk so fast that you miss the caravanserai, the caravan coming down with the loaded camels. You can see the camel, the trader, here with his little sandals. Isn't he so cute? And you can see his camels. There's some feet, there's his tummy, and a very well-laden camel. There's actually a couple of camels coming down to deliver their wares to Petra, so myrrh and gold, etc. And on the other wall, what you're going to see is some other little humps, and those humps aren't quite so big. So they've taken their wares down into Petra, they've unloaded, and the camels are coming back up the Sikh, going back home. So don't walk so quickly that you miss some of the most amazing things that you can see here in Petra. One of the other things is water is really important. This site probably only sustained about 20,000 people, but water is very important. So right from the top of the Sikh, you have this water channel coming down on both sides, collecting the water, both the rainwater coming down into the stuff from the top, to take it down to where the city is, down into Petra. After a slow walk of about 40 minutes, I've arrived down here at the treasury, known as the treasury because they thought the urn at the top held gold and they used to fire at it to try and spill the gold, but there was no gold. It's actually a tomb. There's a couple of different interpretations, but it is a celestial clock giving you seasons and days and months, etc. by looking at different sections of it. You've got the twins on the horses for the underworld, to take you to the underworld. You've got Isis in the middle, and then on either side you've got the Amazons swinging their axes. That's just a couple of things that you would see at the treasury if you came this far. Now, if you have limited mobility, there is electric scooters that can bring you down, but every time there is something a little bit different. So I think it's 25 JD for 2 ways, 15 JDs for 1 way. One thing that I noticed that is new, you've got a new light system for the Petra by night, where 3 times a week they put candles out here and they play some Bedouin music. Let's head down the street of facades. What's different when I came down to Petra this time? There is a lot more people visiting Jordan, a lot more larger groups, and that is fabulous. So the tour guides are getting a lot of work. The other thing I notice is the Instagrammers are back. The women dressed in the most impractical clothes to be at these sites. Long flowing chiffon dresses with capes, etc., which is not a good thing. You're going to be miserable the entire day that you're down here in synthetic clothing that is just draped and flowy and getting caught on everything. The other thing that I am noticing is people are still wearing inappropriate clothes. They're wearing tank tops, shoestring straps. There is no shade covering except for the Sikh here at Petra. You are going to be burnt like a lobster. Do yourself a favour, wear conservative clothes. Lightweight, long-sleeved, cotton shirts. You can wear your tank top underneath to show your boobies and things like that. Yeah, the locals don't care what you're wearing in these tourist sites. They would do in the communities. But it's about you, about your safety, about your health. Don't put yourself into that situation where you were going to come out red lobster and you go, oh yeah, I had a great day at Petra and I had 3rd-degree burns. Don't forget to drink water, even though there's not many toilets down here. There's only 3 of them that are any good, so I wouldn't want to use many of them. Sunscreen, hat, comfortable shoes, and cover your arms, etc., so you don't get sunburnt. Walking down the street of facades, you get an opportunity to go into some of the smaller tombs. When it comes to some of the bigger tombs and the royal tombs, the Corinth tomb, the Silk tomb, they were closed off to people the last time that I visited here. You can still go up to the urn tomb. The way I tell people to go to the urn tomb is go right to the far end, go to the basin, because it's all on the flat, come back on yourself, go to the Church of the Winged Lion and the Petra Church, walk across a ridge, and then you'll end up coming on the same level as the royal tombs, and then you only have a few steps to get up to the urn tomb. When you're coming down from the urn tomb, you've got all the stairs. So if you're walking on the main track, don't get excited about going up into the urn tomb instantly. If this is as far as you're going to get, sure, go up the stairs. But if you're going to go halfway down into the park and not go right up to the monastery, go down to the basin and turn around at Kasse Bint. That is the easiest way to get to the royal tombs without exhausting yourself. The Nabatean Amphitheatre, 45 levels that would have held about 6,000 people. Created by the Nabateans by carving it out of the rock and disturbed some of the older graves that were here. Then this front section was modified and expanded by the Romans when they came here in the 1st century. Absolutely brilliant space. Just like all Jordanian spaces, they do sometimes use them for modern concerts, etc. So last one here was in '94 in Jerash. They have concerts there every year. So once you are here at the Nymphaeum, you can see the urn tomb with his little smiley squeaky face, his 2 eyes, his nose and his mouth. And over the back here you have the royal tombs, the Corinth tomb and the Silk tomb. So the easiest way to get to those tombs, it's the long way. So coming down the street of facades, walk past the Nymphaeum down to through the colonnaded streets to Kasse Bint. Once you come to Kasse Bint, go across the ridge to the Church of the Winged Lion and the Petra Church, walk across the rebar bridge, and you get there, so you don't have to walk up all the stairs to get up to the urn tomb. So that is the easiest way. So you go almost like the whole park, and then you come back on yourself on that ridge. Best way to get the most out of Petra. But one of the other things that I'm noticing, other than the extra electric buggies, probably in the last couple of weeks because of what is happening with the people of Muslim Brotherhood being arrested, there's a lot more military in this area now. So funny, when you watch my videos over the years, you can see how I get tireder and tireder the deeper I go into the site. Sitting here in front of the Great Temple. Not going to go up onto the Great Temple today. It has 3 layers of amazing structure. It has hexagonal tiles that are just the most beautiful to explore. And there are also 2 sections up there of original stucco, original painted clay stucco wall covering. Look back on my last video or my last couple of videos to have a look at that. If not, go and visit the Great Temple yourself, because it's getting hot and I'm a bit tired. Still sitting on my rock in front of the Great Temple, but behind me you can see the Church of the Winged Lion, and just behind this ridge just here is the Petra Church with the most amazing mosaics. The easiest way to get there is go right down to the back end of Kasse Bint and come back across the ridge. Once you've done that and you've looked at the churches, go across the ridge even further across that delicate rebar bridge, and you'll get to the royal tombs, the Corinth tomb, the Silk tomb. And you can just see there the urn tomb. Sitting here in front of the Church of the Winged Lion. And there is a little roof just over there, and that is the roof that's over the Petra Church and the beautiful mosaic. But I sit here on this ridge overlooking the Great Temple, and you can see the 3 layers In the middle there is that small amphitheatre, and then you've got the stucco wall right on the far back end. So once you're looking over the back, and then one to the side. Absolutely beautiful space over there at the Great Temple. But my ultimate goal is just going to be heading over there towards the the Royal Tombs, and from the Royal Tombs go up into the Urn Tomb before I head back down and contact my driver to take me back to the hotel. It's way after midday, close to midday, really, really hot. Sunscreen, hat, water, shade covering. I would usually say that I'm sitting on a rock, a Nabatean rock, but actually I'm sitting on a Roman pillar, a portion of a Roman pillar, just outside the Petra church. There are so many large groups that to go in and get any footage would just be really difficult. So go back and have a look at previous visits to Petra when I have done some pretty good coverage of what is in the Petra church. It's just amazing. So to get here to sit on this little pillar, I was down at the base and I came across the top of this ridge, past the Church of the Winged Lion, got here to the Petra Church. I'm going to continue across the ridge, and this time I'll actually film the rebar bridge, so I'll actually cut the audio for that because it's going to be a lot of swearing. And heading over to the Royal Tombs, the Corinth Tomb, the Silk Tomb, and then ending up at the Urn Tomb before coming down the stairs and heading back to Main Gate.
Where's she based? Swansea and Newport. She's trying to retire, but they've not sent
The life in your hands.
Definitely.
Good. It's probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon now and my energy level has really fallen. I didn't actually follow my own advice and I didn't have any electrolytes today. So I'm standing in front of the Royal Tomb. Can't get access to that. But the Corinth Tomb and the Silk Tomb you can get access to. I was talking to a British lady and she said the big groups of Italians that were coming through, they were in there and they were screaming, getting the echo. The Silk Tomb is named because of the colours of the sandstone inside the Silk Tomb. The next one over is the Urn Tomb. It was named because there was an urn found in it. It's the one that looks like 2 eyes, a nose and a big screamy mouth. Beautiful lookout. So where I've gone today is right down the colonnaded street, past the Great Temple to Casablanca and the basin. Had a little rest there, chatted to the nice couple of ladies, came across the ridge to the churches and arrived here at the Royal Tombs on my way back to the Treasury and the main entrance. 4 o'clock, I've run out of steam. I've made my way back to the treasury. I'll sit here for a few minutes, have a snack and a drink, and then I will spend my 15 JD to go back up to the main gate. I probably have only done 8 kilometres, maybe 10 kilometres at most, but I'm feeling it, I'm just not fit enough. As right at the beginning of the video, my joie de vivre was higher. Now I am struggling. Okay, come and visit Petra. It's an amazing space. You can do as little or as much as you like, as long as you come and visit. Stay safe, everybody. If you like my content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, put on the bell notification for when I upload new videos. Jules retires at 60. Come along with me for the adventure.